Alright, so kule video le ngifuna ukwenza a basic introduction yama acid and base. So define ukuthi what is an acid and what is a base. Right, acid and a base. So there are actually two theories that will explain lama terms I2, which is an acid and a base, right? So we have the Arrhenius theory. So we have the Arrhenius theory. We define acid ngendlela yakhe ne base ngendlela yakhe based on experiment owayenza yena. And then there was a follow-up theory, which is the Lowry-Bronsted, right? That defined an acid and a base based on experimental or suggestion yakhe, right? Okay, so calling Arrhenius theory because it explains how to define an acid and a base through an experiment, right? So starting with Arrhenius theory, what is an acid and what is a base according to Arrhenius theory. So the experiment that was done, sithatha a container, right? This is a container, and kule container le sifaka amanzi phakathi. So this is water, or simply H2O, right? Okay, so Arrhenius uthathe i-substance, wayifaka la phakathi emanzini. Right, so let's say nice substance uyifakile la manzini, right? And the substance le, it produces hydrogen ions. So it means uthathe a substance. So at this point, nakathathe the substance, akazi ukuthi is it an acid or is it a base or is it a neutral substance, right? But uyayithatha the substance uyithela lapha phakathi, and nakayithela lapha phakathi it produces ama hydrogen ions, right? And these hydrogen ions, they combine with water. Ngithi lapha phakathi already kunamanzi, right? So when they combine with water, asinikeza H3, because now water beyinama hydrogen I2, but now azoba 3 ngale, H3O plus, right? So it means it'll produce ama hydrogen ions, and then after some time lama hydrogen ions ahlangana namanzi bese asifomela H3O plus, H3O plus, naleli lizoshintsha kanjalo from H3O plus, right? So Arrhenius will conclude what if a substance acts in such a manner, it means that a substance uyifake emanzini, right? And now uyifake emanzini bese it produces ama hydrogen ions or lama hydronium ions. We call these hydronium ions, which is H3O plus or hydrogen ions. All right, so bese conclude ukuthi if a substance uyifaka emanzini and this substance ionizes to produce hydrogen ions, then that is an acid according to Arrhenius. So Arrhenius ute, an acid is a substance, right? The substance leyo uyayithatha uyifaka emanzini. This substance will ionize in water, because this is how you check whether it is an acid or a base. Uyifaka emanzini and it ionizes in water, right? But then what will this substance form? It will form hydronium ions. You can say hydronium ions or hydrogen ions because these hydrogen ions are hlangana namanzi and then we form hydronium ions. So this is an acid according to Arrhenius. It is a substance that ionizes in water to form hydronium ions or to produce hydronium ions. All right, so what about a base? Experiment a base. Again, you take a container and in this container ufaka amanzi, right? And then you insert a substance lapha phakathi emanzini. And then when you insert this substance, wathola ukuthi it produces these ions which are called hydroxide ions. Right. So now this substance is called a base according to Arrhenius. So a base is a substance that dissociate in water, right? Because then the substance siyifaka emanzini bese siyitesta ngamanzi. Same thing applies to the acid. Siyifaka emanzini the substance and it produces hydronium ions. But according to a base, uyifaka emanzini, it produces hydroxide ions. So this to produce hydroxide ions, right? So note that an acid ionizes in water to form hydronium ions, and then a base dissociates in water to produce hydroxide ions, right? So this is the definition of an acid and a base according to Arrhenius. So we faka emanzini lento le, and then you check what does it produce. If it produces hydronium ions, then it's an acid, and then if it produces hydroxide ions, then that is a base. So we can conclude that according to his experiments, an acid we get hydronium ions or simply hydrogen ions, right? But a base we get hydroxide ions. So that is a definition of an acid and a base, right? So, and then theory number 2. Theory number 2 says, okay, this is the Lowry-Bronsted. So it means the fact that an acid produces hydrogen ions, it means it donates hydrogen ions, right? But what can actually take that hydrogen ion inside that solution? It is a base, right? So for example, if sifaka is substance la, which is an acid, right? And it produces hydrogen ions, right? Le hydrogen ion le izothathwa yini? Izothathwa ngamanzi njengoba sisho la. Therefore it means that la manzi lawo in this case ayi-base because athathe le hydrogen, right? So whatever produced that hydrogen, that is an acid, but whatever took that hydrogen, that is a base. So it means, according to Laurie Bronsted, uthi an acid, it donates the proton. So this is a proton donor. And what is that proton akhuluma ngalo? Is that H plus? It means sifake i-acid la phakathi, right? The acid layer donata ini abo H plus, right? But the H plus uthathwa yini? Uthathwa ila manzi lawo. Therefore la manzi lawo ayi-base. So a base can take up that hydrogen proton. So if this is a proton donor, then a base is a proton acceptor. Right, and the proton abakhuluma ngalo is still yilo le hydrogen ion. So according to Bronsted-Lowry or Lowry-Bronsted, an acid is a proton donor and a base is a proton acceptor. But according to Arrhenius, an acid is a substance that ionizes in water to form or to produce hydronium ions or hydrogen ions. And then a base is a substance that dissociates in water to produce hydroxide ions.